NFL media personalities Brandt and also Louis Reddick just spoke highly of the Pittsburgh Steelers and believe they're about to wreak havoc on the NFL this season. So, usually when media members speak about the Pittsburgh Steelers, there's not too much good things to say about them. They always kind of trash them. But one person who's always been on the Steelers side and always speak highly of the team and the organization as a whole is NFL Network's Brandt. And just once again, a few days ago, he was speaking highly of the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is his quote. This is what he had to say. "I think that they're the most slept on team in the NFL. And this is the year they're finally going to get over. The Steelers are going to be in the playoffs this year. I believe it. I'll predict it now. I'll predict it again when we get to prediction time. You know I'm looking around the table, and I don't know if you guys have them in the playoffs. There's 7 spots in the AFC. 7 in one of the best AFCs ever. Maybe the best ever. I think the Steelers will have one. They're going to be a surprise conversation team." So, like I said, usually amongst national media members, the Steelers don't always find themselves in the conversation as a top tier team. They never really get talked about. It's always the other guys in the division. They talk about the Ravens, they talk about the Bengals now because of Joe Burrow, and now they've been talking about the Browns as well because of Deshaun Watson. The Steelers always get put on the back burner, but it seems like Brandt, whenever given the opportunity to speak about the Steelers, always has something good to say because he believes Mike Tomlin is a high-level coach and the team in general is getting better and better, and they found their guy in Kenny Pickett now. Speaking on that last term about Kenny Pickett, Brandt's co-host on the show and insider Peter Schrager actually offered a lot of praise towards the Steelers and Kenny Pickett as well. Here's his quote. This is what he had to say. "I look at all that and you think of Patrick Mahomes and you think of Rodgers, you think of Allen, you think of Burrow and Justin Herbert, and you're like, is he that guy? And all I can think of is shame on the rest of the NFL. They really let Kenny Pickett slip to 20th overall slot to Pittsburgh. There was a window there where the Steelers could have been really bad. They could have had a weird transition and had to bounce from veteran quarterback and reclamation project. They had the 20th overall pick in last year's draft, and I think they got their franchise guy. I think they have a dude. Can they put up those huge numbers? Well, we'll see. We'll see what Matt Canada's offense looks like. But the most important thing is having a guy. And I think if you're looking at December and January, they have a guy. And that's a lot more than a lot of teams in this league can say. So, when you think about what Peter Schrager was saying on NFL Network alongside Brandt about Kenny Pickett, when you look at that situation, it's totally true. Because the Steelers in that last year's draft picked Kenny Pickett at the 20th spot, and no quarterback got taken off the board before that 20th pick. It was the first time in a very long time a quarterback didn't go until that late. So many teams had the opportunity, like Atlanta Falcons and teams like that who needed a quarterback, to select Kenny Pickett and not let him fall to the Steelers. But the Steelers sat there, knew that the guy they wanted was going to be there. Also, many people thought they were going to go with Malik Willis, but now look where he turned out to be. He may not even make the roster for the Tennessee Titans. So the Steelers decided to go with Kenny Pickett, someone that they're used to because he went to Pitt University. And now it looks like they might have their guy, and the teams in the NFL let him go all the way to 20 without selecting him. When does that ever happen? Yes, Kenny Pickett, he still has to be able to show out and prove to the NFL that he could really do it. Last season was just a stepping stone. Hopefully he could build off of that and continue to stride like he did late in last season, where he led 2 comeback drives to win the game and also just looked completely better as an offense as a whole. He obviously still needs to build off of last season. I'm not willing to say that he's going to be the franchise guy or a top guy in the NFL just yet. He still needs to prove it, but Peter Schrager, Brandt, they believe the Steelers got their guy and the NFL teams messed up. And one last thing before I move on to Louis Reddick of ESPN, what he had to say. When you think of the Steelers, what they mentioned was right as well. The Steelers knew that Ben Roethlisberger was going to be gone. And if they didn't get their guy, and they didn't get Kenny Pickett, and just say they had to settle for Desmond Ridder or Malik Willis, guys who haven't really shown anything yet in the NFL and have been playing on bad teams in Atlanta Falcons, Tennessee Titans, If they didn't get their guy in Kenny Pickett and they got one of those guys, or maybe wasn't even able to get one of those guys, and they had to sell for Mason Rudolph and Mitchell Trubisky, their team could have been down the drain, and it could have been a whole rebuild in like 2+ years where the Steelers still don't have a quarterback and there's still nothing in the NFL. But they were able to get their guy, and that's why them getting it at the 20th pick was amazing. So now let's move on to Louis Reddick of ESPN. He was on a panel on the show talking about the NFL, especially the AFC, and he was mentioning the Pittsburgh Steelers as a team to be wrecked with in the NFL and a team that's going to wreak havoc. Here's what he had to say. Here's his quote. I think this offense, led by Kenny Pickett, will become a more vertical-oriented offense this year. There will be more big plays down the field. He will be well above 6, 7, 8 yards per attempt in terms of this downfield throwing capabilities. George Pickens is a superstar. Mike Tomlin will have the defense playing to its utmost. I think it's ridiculous that they would even be thought of as a team that will finish last in the division. I think they will be in the hunt for a playoff position. There is no question about that. So, Louis Reddick, that's what he had to say about the Pittsburgh Steelers. Not just the Steelers, but Kenny Pickett, George Pickens, Mike Tomlin, the defense, and just the team as a whole. And what he's speaking is facts. Because when you think of the Pittsburgh Steelers, people around the NFL and probably fans are putting them to finish last in the division. And when was the last time they finished last in the division? Never. But they always get put there because of the quarterbacks on the other teams in the AFC North. For example, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, and also Deshaun Watson. Yes, you can make the case that Joe Burrow is one of the best in the league, but it's always a tough battle. And he threw like 5 interceptions, had like 5 or 6 turnovers when the Steelers faced him last season. So he still has to beat the Steelers, and they seem to always split the season series now since he's been on the team. And Lamar Jackson, what's his record against the Steelers? He only has 1 win in his career against them. And Deshaun Watson does not look like himself. He's still dealing with situations where people are talking negative about him for a good reason, and he just hasn't looked the same since he was on the Houston Texans. Maybe he will look better because he'll have more time with the team now, but it seems like every offseason the Browns get labeled as the best team in the NFL or the team that won the whole offseason, and then to follow it up in the regular season, they do absolutely nothing. They seem to always hold on to that 1 win against the Steelers in the playoffs. Their 1 win in the playoffs in so many years. They just hold on to that really tight and just always bring that up. But the Browns, they seem to never do anything and always get labeled as one of the top tier teams. And even the Ravens, this whole offseason has been drama surrounding their team. From Lamar Jackson's contract to the owner speaking out against the team, from the players saying they don't like the general manager, from J.K. Dobbins blaming the coaching staff, saying that basically they're the reason why he gets injured a lot. So there's a lot of drama going around the Browns and the Ravens. But the Steelers and the Bengals, they're the 2 teams atop of their division, and the Steelers deserve more credit. And it looks like these NFL media members, Kyle Brandt, Peter Schrager, and Louis Reddick finally realize and wake up that Kenny Pickett can really help the Steelers. The Steelers have their guy now, and the Steelers as a team in whole, when have they finished last in their division? Never. And when was the last time they had a losing record? The Mike Tomlin era never happened. So they're always amongst the top in their division, whether that's first, second, or third, never fourth. So what they've spoken is right, and I just want to let you guys all know what they had to say because of their credibility and them actually speaking positively about the Steelers, one of the first media members to actually do so. So with that being said, that's the end of this video. Let me know down in the comments below, how do you feel about the comments made by Kyle Brandt, Peter Schrager, and Louis Reddick about Kenny Pickett, George Pickens, the defense, Mike Tomlin, and the team as a whole? Do you feel as though they're right, or do you believe the Steelers still have something to prove and you don't like the direction they're headed, or do you believe they're completely right and the direction they're headed is in the right direction? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel down below as well. If you like Steelers content and analysis reports, like the video, turn on post notifications down below for this channel as well so you get notified whenever I post the next Steelers video. Click the bell down below so you never miss out. I cover everything Pittsburgh Steelers. This is the best spot for Pittsburgh Steelers news. If you don't want to have to go anywhere else and you just want one spot to stay, listen, and not have to read stuff, this is the spot for it. I cover everything from new players being added to training camp to regular season, mock drafts, actual draft news. I cover everything off season, regular season. So like, comment, subscribe, turn on notifications, and I'll see you guys all later. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.